All right, what's up guys? Matt here from Loon Outdoors, and today we're kind of getting into a season prep and what I do to kind of go through my season change. Right now, we're late April and we're starting to transition into that springtime fishing. Runoff is starting to happen in various places. Some places it's over and done with. So the first thing that I like to do is, over the last year, I've probably gone to a ton of fly shops in different rivers other than my home waters, and I've collected these little tubs filled with flies because the guy behind the counter told me it was the hot bug. Most of the time this ends up in my vest pocket or something like that, but right now I like to take the time and put it into some of my boxes. The way I run my boxes is really quite simple. Like this happens just to be a jig fly box, so it's going to be all jig flies, big stones, mayflies, little yellow sallies, caddis, stuff like that. And everything lives in an integral system, which is the big box. Now this could be anything that works for you. This is the model, this is what I'm rocking out with, and has little trays and compartments, just room enough for me to keep everything. Next thing to check out is make sure you have your tools. I like to always have 2 on hand, and I like them to typically have a cutter and an eye cleaner as well as crimping capabilities. You know, you could have a nipper on there, whatever really is your jam. Next up, I like to take an inventory on Tippet. Now this is a lot of Tippet, I know, I do guide. So I look at all of my Tippet, I see what I have. Heavier sizes I typically keep in one pile, stuff I'm gonna throw on in my vest in another. So like my 4, 5, 6, 5.5, 4.5 X's. Really big thing to do is, you know, if you're doing a visual check, you get out there and you're like, cool, Tippet, yeah, got a whole bunch of it, looks great. And you start pulling it off and you realize that you have like 12 or 18 inches of each individual size because you haven't checked it for a year or 2. So go ahead and make sure, like most of the spools, you can see like, oh wow, this has a lot of Tippet left on it, or this might need to be replaced. Go ahead and hit up your local fly shop, get that taken care of. I always carry a headlamp with me. I like to fish in the evenings, especially, you know, up here in Northern California during the summer. It gets hot, the evenings start to cool off a bit. We get a great down canyon breeze. It's one of the most pleasurable times. Typically walking out of the river at night, it's nice to see where you're going. Also great for dawn patrols. When I'm on my home waters, I know, which is the lower stack, I know I'm going to use an SSG. So once I start checking through my weights, I'm going to do an inventory on how many weights that I have. Convenience, you can open the top, you can take a peek in there, go cool. I got a full tub of weights here. Now, if you're a traveling angler and you're going to a bigger water system, we made you a big water combo. It's 4 big sizes. Now, if you're traveling a bunch and all over the place, you might want to have one of these little 8 compartment boxes. These come in black and camo. They're super awesome. It's going to give you a full assortment all the way down from, you know, high alpine stream, skinny water stuff with like a size 6 up to an SSG for nymphing big rivers or heavy plunge pools. This is kind of like my go-to if I'm going to travel someplace and I'm not familiar with the 5 rivers or 4 rivers that I'm going to try to fish. As far as other things to kind of check out and to look at is, I do like to go through my floatants. Now, this is my little floatant box. It lives underneath here, and I keep a literal plethora of various floatants in this box. You could say I keep everything but the kitchen sink, but as you can see, I have that too. So I've got like my dusts for dusting nymphs and looking like things are emerging. I've got a ton of big bottle of Aquel. It's our guide size. I actually will refill my small bottle from the big bottle. Loxas, Royal Gels if I'm fishing a trico hatch and I want that glimmer and shimmer on my spinner. This is going to give you that. Easy Dry for drying off the bugs after you've snout faced, you know, a bunch of trout. And then, you know, some of the other floatants, fly dip, stuff like that. I just like to make sure, check that they're all full. Again, I carry the kitchen sink. So one of the big things that a lot of people probably overlook, and say if you're fishing into runoff and stuff like that, is your fly line. Now, we did a great video on how to clean your fly line. One of the things I keep in my kit here is just my little Streamside setup right here. This has a couple bottles of Streamline and a line cleaning tool in it. Now, if I'm at home, I'm probably going to get a little bit more involved and do fly line cleaner and line speed as well. So it's a good thing. Always get out there, clean your lines, take care of them. They're kind of like skin. They have pores. They get clogged up. They get dirty, and then they don't look so good. They don't float as well. Outside of that, I like to take an inventory of like my indicators. You know, I carry some paillette paste for floating my indicators. I also use that for euro nymphing applications. More bugs. You can never have enough bugs, I guess. There's always a few things that I like to carry. Some of it's strike out or strike 2, and that just allows me to make real quick on the water adjustments to my Dorsey style indicators. You know, obviously they come in a plethora of sizes. I seem to collect them like nobody's business. Other things I like to have, just like my water bottle. I have like a fishing water bottle. Make sure it's clean, ready to go. And I'm gonna see if there's anything else in here that's super pertinent to check out. You know, we've kind of gone over everything. Probably a big one is to go through your pack, through like your little chest pack. I keep this pretty clean and lean when it's not in use, but you know, stuff that I keep in here all the time, like my sun gloves, a buff, maybe some sunscreen, and then I can go ahead and add my various pieces from the big box for the application that I'm fishing that day. As far as packs go, getting your pack dialed in is really a personal preference. I like to carry a backpack. I like to have snacks because I'm kind of a bigger guy. Typically, like I said, my water bottle, a net, tons of different bugs for our river systems that we're fishing. But just make sure that you're comfortable with your pack system. Last but not least is probably to, you know, get out there and grab your fly rod. Now, if you've been throwing an 8-weight all winter for whatever reason and you're going to start fishing 4s and 3s in high alpine creeks, get out and cast. Take the rod, go out to your front yard, a park, some sort of setting like that, and just put in some practice. Get comfortable with it again. Make sure that you're dialed in for the year. So when you get that first shot at that 22-inch brown that's sipping little bugs off the surface on some secret creek that you're not telling your friends about, that you're going to make the best shot at them. I hope you guys found this useful. It's just kind of a quick checklist of things that I like to go through prior to my season starting off. Gives me an opportunity to see what bugs I'm missing. If I'm a tyer, I'm going to go ahead and tie as many of those as I can. If they're really small flies, we call those bi-flies because nobody wants to tie tiny stuff. But it just gives you an opportunity to do an inventory, a checklist, go through everything, and make sure you're dialed in. Hope you guys found this information useful. We'll catch you on the next Tailgate Talks. Thanks for watching. GoPro, stop recording.